Hey guys. Hey everyone. Hey
How's it
everyone.
going?
Hey Josh, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming. That was quick. Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hey Sharon. Hey Taylor. And hey everyone who is in the cloud and for those who are coming in. So we're giving the guys a little time to come in, Josh. So let's give them another 30 seconds and then we'll start, okay?
Sure, sounds good.
Alrighty. Okay, hey Josh, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Hey Shakila, hey everyone, and hey to those who may be coming in after we've done. Um, hey. Okay, so today I have a guest with me, and this person, as you may know, because I see someone said hi. Hey, right, Sharon. I'm happy you caught another live too. Okay, cool. And we'll be coming on later on too for an open panel. So, guys, I have with me a guest, and we're gonna have a quick chat. And his name is none other than Josh. Josh, do I give your full name?
Yeah, that's fine.
Matter of fact, Josh, let us start off by you telling us a little bit about yourself and telling me about your name and stuff. Let's start there.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel name is Accountability for All. Um, I started. I didn't start off in the right place in life. I often got myself into trouble, had lots of run-ins with the law. At one point, I was homeless. I had a really bad drug addiction. About four years ago, I went to jail. I got warrants. I got arrested. I was able to clean up, and when I came out, I was standing at a church, and it was the 4th of July, and I was remembering a friend that had passed away, and a cop had seen me. And often in wealthy towns, it kind of depends like what you look like, who you are. The police will just stop you. And I had just had enough of it. Like even when I was doing the best in my life, I'm still being harassed by police. And I just kind of got overwhelmed. So I
Uh,
pulled out my camera and I just decided to flip the script on them.
hold
Same
on, Josh.
questions you asked me.
Hold on. Hold on, because I don't want you to go in my answers just yet. So you started off by saying that you had what did you say, a substance abuse issue?
Yes, that's right.
Right. And you're saying you were going in and out of jail often, or what? Was that what you said?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So let's kind of give the audience an idea of why all of this was happening during that time.
I had a lot of personal demons. I had been an addict for a long time. I had about 8 years clean under my belt, and I just, kind of stopped caring. I had a really good job. I was a district manager for a big restaurant chain, um, and I was doing really well. I got kind of comfortable with myself, and I wound up relapsing, and then that led to me using drugs often every day, and then being homeless.
Oh no. And you know what? I'm saying oh no, but guess what? I'm happy to know that you're no longer living that, type of life and you're good. So we had a little background of what we have an idea of what your background was like. But what is Josh like today? Who is Josh today?
I mean, I think the underlying person of who I was has always been the same. I've always been a good person, a good human. I've always outwardly cared about people, and I've always like searched for a purpose. And I've never really been able to find quite what that purpose is. So the hole was always kind of void. And now I am very lucky that I own my own business. It's very successful. I travel the country, and I put in a lot of work, and I'm able to have that reward of being able to find my purpose and fulfill my dream. I have a home. I have kids. The whole boring life now.
You have a whole board, and I'm one of the thing that is all. boring but good. All right, so let us go into the beginning. So you had started to say a little bit about what you did. Take me to the beginning. Why did you decide, sorry, to start this channel that you have, and the type of job that you do now? What events led to the creation of the channel called Accountability for All?
So, I was standing outside of this church, and a cop drives by me, and he gives me like a bad look, but he's driving the wrong way up a one way, and everything just kind of came over me. And I yelled at him. I was like, obey the law. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Obey the law. And he flips a U-turn and almost crashes into an old lady. And he gets out the car and he tells me that now he's going to need to see my ID. And I just kind of I was overcome. I took my phone out. I held it the wrong way. My hand was shaking. And I just kind of flipped the script on the cop to what they normally do. I asked them, do you have any drugs in your car I should know about? Was your last drink public or private? Do you have any ID on you? Do you mind if I conduct a quick pat down search for my safety? Anything that'll poke me, pinch me, prod me? And then I just started hitting him with case law, because when you're in jail and you're looking up your case and you're studying the legal system, you start to learn, and it's really frustrating to know that the 6 months I spent in jail, I learned more than what this cop had learned. He's carrying around a gun, a taser, a flak vest. He can take people's freedom and not be sued for it. And he only has to go to school for 6 months. A barber has to go to school for twice that time. And I just filmed it and I sent the video to a couple of my friends, and they were like, dude, this is gold. This is awesome. And you should upload it on YouTube. I didn't even know how to do that. I didn't have a channel. I didn't have subscribers. I just had an account. So I uploaded the video just so like my friends could take a look at it. And I woke up the next day, the thing had went viral, and one of the largest civil rights activists in the country reached out to me, and he's like, I want you to come out and film with me. So we changed the name. I went out and filmed with him, and it just took off from there.
Wow. So that's cool though. So you had a lot of time to spend, and to think and do your research and stuff while you were locked up. So you things just got out of hand that day. You're like, you know what, F this. The cop is stopping me doing stuff that he doesn't need to be doing. Let me record this. And ever since you made the decision to make that one recording, and this is where it has gotten you today, and that's so cool to hear. So now we have an idea of what the motivation was like for you to start this channel. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
Yeah, so that one video, go figure, turns into 730 videos, 84,000 subscribers, 20 million views, my name in case law, and me being featured on some of the biggest news stations, both multimedia and on paper. And it was a wild ride, but I've seen things like I'm a civil rights activist. Like a lot of people that do what I do, they call themselves First Amendment auditors. Like they go into public places and police stations and they film to make sure the cops don't yell at them and abuse their rights for having a camera. And I felt like that only did so much. The problem was on the streets, and we had a much bigger war to fight. The statistics say that 1,500 people died last year at the hands of police violence, but only 44 police officers. They seem to be totally concerned with officer safety, but for every one police officer that dies, by statistics, they go out and kill 100 citizens for every officer that dies in the line of duty. And I just wanted to focus on these bad police officers. So I started traveling the country, and then as my channel is blowing up, people are asking me to go to their hometowns. And we started doing a lot of investigations. In one city, they averaged 2 police officers fired every 8 years. I got 4 off the job in less than 3 months. We've exposed cops that have been pedophiles, who've been featured on mainstream documentaries, major channels, and that's what we do: civil rights activism. We kept certainly busy after what Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd. I was at the front of every major protest with all the large protesting organizations across the country, and that's what we do.
And I'm kind of glad that you mentioned the whole George Floyd thing. What are some of the big cases that you have been on? Or if you want to just talk about one that you've experienced that you had to work on, one of the biggest ones for you. Or you may tell me of any other ones that were, big ones that the public may know about.
Um, I think the two biggest cases I worked on is there was a young man in Anderson, Indiana. And this young man was walking down the street with his, and he's not from the nice part of town. He's not rich. He's very poor. He comes from humble means. His name is Dakota Nice, and he's walking with his father and his sister. And a police officer pulls up to him, gets out of the car, and this is just after it happened to George Floyd. The chokehold's been banned in that specific police department, and he gets out of the car and he starts asking this guy questions and just berating him. And then the next thing you know, he sneaks up behind him, puts him in this big chokehold, flip slams him, throws him on the ground, drives his knee into his neck, starts using quite a few slurs. And I got sent this video and I absolutely lost my mind. Like, it's not a good look for cops right now. It wasn't really ever a good look for cops. And this is what they're doing to people. So I contacted this kid. I interviewed him, and I wound up going down to the police station and demanding answers for this guy. In fact, I was standing at the desk and I was live. I had like 2,000 people in my live stream, and all of a sudden their phones start going off the hook. And the police officer's answering calls from me. It got to the point he had to put the phone on speaker, take messages from me. And now I'm at a police station dispatch center, and he's taking phone calls from me. The video went so viral that CNN wound up picking up the story, meeting up with us, meeting up with him. We did a deeper dive into it, and we found out that the officer's partner that was there that day that didn't stop it was actually dating him. Like, we released and exposed this entire information. The assistant chief of police wound up firing him, suspending his girlfriend. A civilian panel put him back on the force. And as of now, I believe he has left because other police officers refused to work with him. And that's the other big case. Was there was protests in Boston, and they started firing tear gas and beating the protesters. So I stood at the front of the protest line saying F the police, and I kind of went crazy. I was bundled, arrested. The DA was really pushing for citizens' rights, and she was going for office. So she asked for the case not to be prosecuted. The judge did anyways, held me on a 90-day detainer. My lawyer got me out after 24 days, and now my name is in case law in relation to that case. I mean, I guess those are the biggest notable ones.
I've noticed that. Here's my question: how many times have you been arrested, all in the name of trying to support, the whole idea of freedom of speech, and seeking justice for the public? Let me have an idea, because I realize I've seen, videos about this, about you, getting arrested for the type of work that you service. I'm going to say service that you offer. Go ahead.
Seven, altogether seven. Two times I was unarrested immediately, which sounds funny. But one time we were in Laplace, Louisiana, just a backwards, super racist county. Anything that has anything to do with civil rights, they want nothing to do with. They arrested us simply for filming. They throw us in the cage. They search us. And then they start getting calls because I'm still live. And they realize that a decent sized YouTuber is now, a Yankee is now in their system, and they effed up. So the sheriff comes down and immediately unarrests us. But we're not free to leave, even though our ride's right out front. They shackle us up. They keep our property there. They put us in the back of a van. They drive us 3.5 hours away to a swamp right outside of Baton Rouge. And they let us out behind the swamp, this shopping mall. And the guy points out to me that in the very place that we were standing, some pesky civil rights activists from the 60s had the same ideologies that we had, and they died right there as far as a veiled threat went. So we got a ride. We went all the way back. We filed several reports. They were sustained. We filed a lawsuit, and then the prosecutor, in the best interest of justice, refused to pursue any charges. Another time we were filming a police officer going out that was, obviously was really going after people of any other race that really wasn't white. So when he saw us doing this, he did a U-turn, almost hit my friend. He tried to hit him. Then he jumps out of the car and he puts me in cuffs. And then again, they get calls over the radio that the person they just arrested was a very known YouTuber that was a civil rights activist. And he immediately released us and uncuffed us. So 7 total arrests. But two, I was unarrested pretty much immediately when they realized who I was.
I have smoking auditor in the back. I'm pretty sure you know him.
Oh yeah, that's my buddy.
Yeah. Do you want me to bring him up now, or do you want him to come?
It's up to you. It's your show. You do your thing.
Give me a minute. I give me a minute. Smoking auditor. Yeah, I know him. I've seen him, and he's been here a few times too. And I caught him on karaoke, so there goes that. So I'll bring you up in a minute. I'll bring you up in a minute, smoking auditor. So who are the people, the types of people that you notice that you are always being called to assist? Are there any specific types of people that you notice that you've been getting calls for help from?
Well, I mean, every type of the one thing is police won't discriminate when it comes to if they're a dirty cop and who they want to assault. So there's obviously been a mixture of middle class to wealthy people, but the normal people that I'm called to assist are the normal people that police like to try and um, go after and take down, right? So we're normally talking about lower class people, people from higher crime neighborhoods, specifically, like I would say 75-80% majority is other than white. Predominantly African American is normally the calls that we get. And now, because my channel is so big, that number's changed because I usually get calls from other activists or people that turn activists. Like, they went to go film and something happened to them. So, now we get involved. Like a guy got, beat up by the cops yesterday. And, I don't even know how he got my number, but he wound up calling me from his one jail call. He called me and he was like,
Is
hey,
that
I
the
don't
same
know.
Billy guy?
What's that?
Who is okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, this guy's name is Amazing Audits. And I was like, yeah, you don't have to tell me what happened. I already went live for you. So today we
Oh
raised the
wow.
money for his bail, and we sent a local channel that I affiliate myself with out of Denver to go down and bail him out. And he was surprised. I was at the court hearing via Zoom, and the lawyer was like, and they hammered him because he's poor, he's homeless, he has mental deficiencies. He's the only one with a nonviolent crime that they tried to give a $750 bail to. And we just told that he's like, I have no way to pay this, Your Honor. And I spoke up. I was like, we could stop things right here. I'll have him bailed out in 5 minutes.
That was one of our next questions. Because do you find that, well, you did answer it pretty much. Do you find that people have been reaching out to you a lot to get help because of some of the injustices they've been facing? You
I
you,
mean,
you kind of mentioned that still, but go ahead.
yeah, no, it's to the point where you hate to turn anyone away because everyone's going through something and everyone's issue and trauma is specific to them. So whatever's happening to me, I can't say that anyone else is going through anything worse. Everyone has their own trauma that affects them differently, and we hate to turn anyone away. But we're at the point now where things have picked up so much that that's exactly what we have to do. But instead of turning people away, I have a large network of other channels that I work with, that I've worked with personally, that I have relationships with. So what I will do is I'll just contact them and forward their cases over to other channels.
1 second. Hey, Anna Banana, I've been checking your channel out, and congratulations on your thousand and your monetization and all that. So, congrats, Anna. Who else? And hey to everyone else coming in. And for those who may not be able to see, the name of the channel is, let me put it up again. The name of the channel is Accountability for All. I'm hoping it's clear enough. If not, I'll just type in this channel and share the screen. I'd have wanted to show some of the subscribers the type of videos that you do, but you know what? They'll type it in, and I don't know if you're black. But anyways, you're welcome, Anna. I'm how do you support your channel though? And how do you get to support? What type of support do you get for the type of work that you do? And I remember you said that you started this off. You told us how you started this. Yes, Anna, I saw your karaoke, the last one that you did. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who did the guitar, but I was watching that
Oh,
too.
Conspiracy Media. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is he a professional player? He has to be.
No,
Oh,
no, he's just. I mean, he's at the level of a professional player, but he's just a hobbyist.
Yeah, that was really cool. I was watching. I was in and out. That karaoke was kind of hilarious because you guys were feeding off each other and stuff. Bouncing jokes around, and that was a really cool thing. And I think Smoking Auditor sang. I don't even want to go. So, Smoking Auditor, you tried and you did good. Okay. Smoking Auditor, you tried, and you were a good sport. Don't. He's behind the scenes. He's laughing. I'm sorry, guys. So let me go. I'm seeing. Let me put him up. Smoking Auditor, I saw you trying your thing. Welcome again to the channel, Smoking Auditor.
Thanks for having me. I just came on here for, well, now it's like four reasons, but originally just come on here to thank Josh for him helping everyone. He's like the hub of activists. When someone's in trouble, he wakes up at like 2, 3 a.m. to go live to try to help them.
Wow,
I've
that is
seen
so
him do it.
cool.
I've been on his live streams while he's done it.
What have
Yeah,
you
we
observed? Tell me about one of the most memorable thing that you've seen him done on one of his live streams, Smoking Auditor. You can go ahead.
I think one of the most memorable things people will remember Josh for years to come is his game, How Low Can We Go? And watching their reviews on Google just go from 3.4 down to like 1.8 within a matter of like an hour or two. You know, just for us to be able to redress our grievances to the government.
Yeah, that is so cool. I was watching a video the other day that he did. He was live at which public office did you go to, Josh? I'm trying to remember which one you were at. And you were there recording and that poor lady wanted to quit her job. What was it? What
Oh,
where
that was a city hall. That was a city hall. That was the city administrator of Worcester, Massachusetts that we were at.
do you want to tell the audience why you decided to go to the city hall? What was happening? Why did you guys go there?
Well, so what most people don't know, I mean, I guess a lot of people do, is that you can film absolutely anywhere in public. You don't need permission slips from people. You don't need to get a written waiver. If you are in public, you can film anyone and anything. You don't require permission. And we went into the city hall. We actually had reports about this city administrator being an absolute tyrant, violating people's rights, and it just really being a low class level of service to the community. And I believe that if you abuse one right, that is just the gateway to abusing all of our other rights, right? The First Amendment of the United States, the building block to this country and our freedom, is freedom of the press. And if they do that, they can violate your right to remain silent, your right to be free from illegal search and seizure, your right to affordable bail. So we went in there filming. Then the city administrator had desk duty that day. Like once a week, she works the front desk. And she appeared on film and she was like, "You can't film me. You can't film me." I was like, I know she was upset and like having an anxiety attack. So I want to educate her, but at the same time, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So I was just letting her know, like, yes, I can film you. This is totally legal. You're within your public capacity in a public place. I can film you. You like giving unlawful orders to people, and now you don't like it when someone comes in here and shows you what you're doing. And she's like, "Well, it's because I'm on camera. You can because I work here. You can film me, right?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "And I quit." She resigned on the spot.
I
She
was
was
wondering if she was just saying it for you to stop filming, but she was like, I quit, I quit. And I'm like, is she just saying that for you to stop recording and stuff? I couldn't believe it. And
no,
what
we
would drive her
confirmed.
to
She
do
went
that
upstairs to
easily?
the mayor's office and she passed in her resignation.
Panic. Wow. Right, sis. It's very important for us to know our rights. And also, one of the things I noticed on your channel is like sometimes you challenge the cops, because people do get, and sometimes he's live on the scenes doing this, well, most of the times. And you notice that he's challenging the cops. Some of them don't even know the laws themselves. And of course, they end up wrongfully charging people, wrongfully, arresting people. So that's one of the things that I noticed that you do. Let me hear. I'm seeing some men in behind you here in the photograph on screen for your channel. Are these members of your team? Are there other channel holders who do similar work as you do?
Yes, very similar work, though. That's actually the some of the largest names in the civil rights activism community. There's Disorderly Product News. I think he has about 150,000 subscribers. Chuck Bronson, he has about the same as me. And Joe Cool, throwing up the peace sign, he has about 60,000 subscribers, I think. And it's interesting that, the guy all the way to your right, his first video ever filmed was with me. So those are just some of the biggest civil rights activists that are out there right now doing this type of work, because you have some people that will just go up to a cop and give them a hard time to get a view, to get people to watch, so you have a viral. And then when that cop will threaten them with arrest, say, give me your ID or you're going to jail. They just want the viral video, but they'll give up their rights. They don't want to go to jail. They want to make YouTube money. So they'll hand over their ID. Everyone that you see in that picture, we've all taken the ride. We don't ID. If we haven't committed a crime, we don't give up our ID. We don't consent to searches. They tell us to stay in the car. We get out of the car. We do what we want because we're the highest ranking people in every single room whenever there's a cop there. We are the citizens.
I'm happy. Sly Jones is here in the chat. Sly Jones says that AFA, that's you. Well, for those who are coming in, accountability for all. Sly Jones obviously watches your channel, and he says that you taught him that he does not have to show an ID unless he's been accused of a crime. And a lot of people don't know these simple things. What are some of the things that you would suggest to people who get pulled over by cops, who are confronted by cops? What are some of the basic things that you think they need to know if this should come up, if this should happen to them?
Film every interaction with police, and it comes down, and you might think it's simple. A cop pulled me over. There's no need to film. I don't want to get a ticket. Cameras don't lie. They can't lie. They're unbiased. The only thing in a situation between a cop and a camera is a camera won't lie and a cop will. So film every interaction that you have. Secondly, know your rights. I mean, you don't, by no means do you have to, study the Constitution day and night, but understand that if you're a passenger in a vehicle, we did something called the bootlicker quiz, and I would just go out in public and ask random people random questions. Have a cop pulls you over, do you have to show ID if you're a passenger? If you're walking down the street, can a cop ask you for your ID and, search you? And most of the time, people think that they can do these things. A police officer can never ask you for your ID if you're a passenger in the vehicle. If you're a driver, they need to cite a moving violation. But if you're just walking down the street and a cop says, I want your ID, he can't. He needs to have either reasonable articulable suspicion that you are currently in the commission of, are about to commit a felony, misdemeanor, city ordinance violation, moving violation, something like that. And that only gives them the ability to detain you. They still can't search you, right? They can just pat you down for weapons. They can't search you. After their investigation, they have to hit the higher bar of probable cause to actually arrest you. If you're a passenger in a vehicle and you're not on a highway, you can get out and walk away. You don't have to stay there. A police officer, people just aren't aware of their rights. So I would always ask that, number one, you film the police. Number two, understand that you don't have to be searched. You don't have to give ID if no crime has been committed. They can't search you. It's a violation of your person, papers, and your effects. And you do not have to answer the cops' questions. And a lot of times, cops use scare tactics because they want you to comply. And they'll tell you that, well, it'll make them feel better. One thing cops say a lot is, well, I need your ID because you're suspicious. Suspicion is not a statute. It is not a felony. It's been very clear that suspicion in itself is not a crime. The same as if you're walking down the street with a gun. That is no reason for a cop to pull you over or ask for your ID because it's your Second Amendment right to carry a firearm. So it's just important that people kind of know the basics, because cops will tell you what you want to hear. They'll lie to you. And it's important that if you know your rights and you're filming them, it doesn't really matter if they lie. At the end, the truth prevails.
I just want to add something on here real quick. Just to let everyone know, cops are legally allowed to lie to you by court ruling.
Yeah. If they have probable cause to believe that there has been a crime, they can lie to you to obtain information, which has been kind of ruled on in a lot of different case law. They're starting to move away from that because There's been a lot of busts called Mr. Bigs that were obtained by law enforcement lying to people, and it's basically entrapment. So they're starting to move away from it as common practice because they're not securing as many convictions unless you plea out. But 98% of Americans that have a court date will plea because it's stacked against you. I mean, it's really a lie. You say you have the right to be assumed innocent until proven guilty. That's bullshit, because every single person in that jury, when they see you walk in shackles, they're going to say to themselves, well, the police wouldn't lie and they wouldn't
Right.
do this.
So they already have this
And now
preconceived notion.
right.
Yeah. And
I
if
tell
someone,
everyone now.
go ahead.
No, I just tell everyone now. Well, yeah, a police officer can lie. They wouldn't lie. There's a kid by the name of Shane Shoemate, 26 years old. Well, 26 years old now. The police showed up to his house 3 hours after an alleged domestic dispute. They had a knock and announce warrant, right? They didn't knock, they didn't announce, they didn't have police gear. They had guns that they weren't even qualified or permitted to use. He saw them outside of his home. So he put a revolver in his pocket and walked outside to see if anyone was there, who these prowlers were. And he got shot 6 times. He almost lost his leg and his life on
Wow.
the way to the hospital. The police officer, Deputy Derek Marvin, said immediately after, that no one fired. He didn't see a gun. The guy didn't have a gun. He just didn't want to take the chance, so he shot him. He was released. 9 months later, when the officer was being investigated, he changed his story. He said that this guy came out of the house aiming guns at them. The police asked him to drop his firearm, and he fired. However, the gun had never been fired. It was full rounds in the chamber. So we got to
They
hold his
didn't think
body.
about that before saying that. You're right. You see
No,
that? How
no
easily
gun shot.
they can lie on the public
Well,
after they've done
that's what's
it.
important.
That's
Like
crazy.
the not the medical examiner, the crime scene tech examined the gun. It had not been fired recently, and it had 6 full rounds.
Hey,
However, when the officer changes his story, the evidence bag is switched out and it now is missing around. However, they weren't smart enough to get rid of the original evidence log. So we get the body cam footage. We start going full tilt on this thing. I reach out to this kid's mother, offer to pay for them to have a private attorney because he got screwed in his first trial. He got 36 years in prison because an officer lied
wow.
to save his
Just
own
because
skin.
of a lie. You see that? Just
Well,
because
now
and
he's
they
looking
took
at
the
coming
cop's
home.
word. But
Now he's looking at coming home because he's seeking post-conviction relief. The prosecutor was made aware of the body cam video and several other things. And now the person that runs all of my merchandise is this young man's mother, and she keeps all the proceeds. But that's the case in point example I give
that
when
is so
people
cool.
say you're innocent until proven guilty, because 12 juries believed everything that cop said, because in your jury instructions, the judge tells the jury physically, this is not made up, this is real. Give more credit to a police officer because of his professional experience.
I've heard of that before, and it's quite disheartening to know that you're already seen as a criminal before you're even tried. So that's crazy. There's a comment in the chat. It says, Sis says, Josh, you have to be careful though, because the people of color don't always get treated the same way, and that can cause us to lose our lives. And of course, she was mentioning this because of the whole thing about you can record, or you don't have to give your ID and stuff. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, she's not wrong. And I think the way that we handle that situation is, instead of just accepting that as a normalcy, because, and I get that comment all the time, if a black person, a Hispanic person, or whomever went to do this, they might not come out alive. And we say, okay, that makes sense. Let's test it. You're right. I believe you. Let's show people that you're right. So that way people understand how bad the system is. So then I will go out. For example, one channel's name is Omaha Cop Block. He's black. He's from Omaha. Really, really nice kid. So what he does is he puts on pantyhose over his head, right? He puts on full gear, and then he'll crawl around in front of a police station, or he'll put his hands behind his back. He'll put his hands in front of his pockets, right? And the police will show up. And then on camera, I will do the exact Now he has 8 different guns drawn on him. And once all
Wow.
these guns show up, I start mimicking him and doing the same thing. And then I say, wow, I'm dressed in the exact same clothing. I'm doing the exact same
Oh
thing.
my
There's only
God.
one difference between us is that he's black and I am white. So we can't change that police act that
Wow.
way, but we can sure as hell put a lot of eyes on the fact that they do it because they don't really care about what
They
they can get
discriminate
away with.
before. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's they care about what they can't get away with. So that's why we try and that's the stuff that they hate. So then you'll notice that I'll start doing the same thing. We'll go to multiple towns where one day he'll be out in front of a bank dressed a certain way. Police have this major response. Then I'm outside of the bank doing the same thing, dressed the same way, no response. I'm a white kid. And then sooner or later in all these different towns, the police see him and they stop responding. You just have to train them who's in charge. They understand that they look bad to the public and they say, we can't do that because then some guy like Smoking Auditor or Accountability for All will have 800 people in a chat room and will direct every one of those 800 people to that police station's Google review page. And in an hour, it will go from 4 stars to 1 star. And they won't even be able to do anything but answer our phone calls. You have to remind them that they work for you.
Yeah, you got a real good support team. Yeah, tell me about. I got a. There's a question on screen or a statement on screen that I want you to look at. But tell me how the type of support that you've been getting so far. And are you still on Facebook? Are there other social media apps that people can find you on?
I mean, Accountability for All has a Facebook page. It's not really active. I mean, we'll post videos on there. The only social media site we do have a small TikTok following, like 15,000 followers, but we primarily stream to my main channel. And the support has always been never for me. It's the support has been for people that want and demand change. I mean, we can't forget that brave men and women have died for our rights, not for some piece of you know what, with qualified immunity to abuse them. I mean, qualified immunity gives a police officer the right to suspend or terminate your constitutional rights. The first part of the Constitution explains that any law that goes against the Constitution is unconstitutional. When you have people that can kill you making up laws to restrict you, this is a problem. And I think that the support's not really for me. The support is just to see change. I'm lucky in the sense that I was able to get out of the situation I was in to be in the situation where I am now. I have a wonderful family, a wonderful girlfriend. I have a great job. And if I have an issue, I literally pick up a phone and call the largest civil rights activists that are around. But the same goes for other people. They know that they can call me or reach out to me and I will answer. So I think the community supports itself.
And that's one of the things that the smoking auditor spoke about, the fact that you're available to people who have been experiencing some type of injustice and stuff, and you're always available to them. And of course there are also like-minded persons like yourself who have channels that dedicate their time to doing this, so that's really cool. Shani 48 has a question. She says, do you know if they have passed the law in every state where they cannot turn their cameras off when they stop someone?
So it's not a law. Now, this is going to go to departmental policy, and I assume she's talking about body cameras. But
Yeah,
they don't
that's what I'm
they
assuming.
don't
Yeah.
have to. I mean, most places the departmental policy are going to ask that you do not turn off your camera until after an encounter. But the fact that they have the ability to turn off the camera is a problem. The fact that they have the ability to mute audio is a problem. And you'll notice that when the body camera's on, you're watching body camera footage, the guy will say, or I'm going to mute this. It happened in the video where Shane Schumann, thank God, after being sentenced to 26 years, he's going to be coming home soon. The cop muted his body camera. Unfortunately, the other cop didn't mute his body camera. So the whole discussion of how they were going to fabricate this evidence on scene and another police officer
Hmm.
stepping up saying, I'm not going to go to jail for this shit. You guys are on your own. They shouldn't have that ability. I feel that body cameras should never be able to be turned off. They should upload to the city's public database so
I
people can see
agree.
what's on them at all times. But currently, there is no law, just departmental police policy restricting some police stations from shutting off their cameras.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Right. And I was really, people should be happy for those body cams because a lot of cops get away with stuff that they do, you know, when they set up people or they try to figure out ways in which they can put false claims on you and stuff. So that is really good.
That
Um,
goes to show how stupid they are. I mean, you have the case that was in Baltimore that was super notable because the cop was an idiot. He forgot that his body cam was rolling, and it showed him taking crack rocks out of his tack vest and placing them in a Coke can and saying,
oh
"Look what I found! Look
no!
what I found!" And the kid was smoked. He was on his third strike, and he was going away for quite some time until someone in our community that does what we do pulls body cam for police encounters all the time, which is something I do as well, and was looking at this body cam and said, "Holy shit!"
Oh wow, that is really good. Hold on one second. I'm pulling up your channel because I wanted to play some of the videos, so people could get an idea. But what I'm gonna do instead is just share your channel so people can look. So give me a few seconds. Okay, guys. So this is what his channel looks like. So you type in accountability for all, and if you notice, this is what you should be seeing on it, accountability for all. If you notice, they actually go in. I arrest. Look at this one. I arrest a U.S. 1.6 million views. You arrested a U.S. Marshal.
I
What
did.
do you
Yep.
arrested a U.S. Marshal?
He committed a felony in my presence, so I placed him under citizen's arrest. He assaulted the cameraman that was with me, and he did it in front of the Bill of Rights, a sign that declares what our rights are when filming in public. So I placed him under a citizen's arrest until the Burlington, Vermont police.
Wow, that is so interesting. You aren't you scared? Let me ask you. That's one of my next questions. Aren't what do you? I think I said this to you before in one of your videos. Don't you think this type of job that you do very dangerous? What are some of the dangers of this job? What are some of the close calls that you have? What are some of the things that you've seen happen while you're on doing your your recordings?
I
How do
mean,
you manage to keep yourself safe? That's all. I really need to know that because it's really dangerous when I watched some of your
it's like
videos.
doing anything else. You know what I mean? Like after you do it enough times, you see a guy drive his first NASCAR race, he's scared to death. But after he's done 300 laps, it's just second nature. So I don't get any nerves. I don't get scared. I'm pretty good at reading if I'm going to be arrested. But as far as like close encounters, I mean, there's many times where I've almost been shot. Especially a lot of people didn't want to go out during the riots, and I made sure to be at the front of every one of them. And I had myself with me and a guy with a tennis racket. And as the tear gas came in, we're hitting the tear gas back. I was in Kenosha, Wisconsin when the Rittenhouse thing happened. I was in Indianapolis. I was at the front of the Boston one. I was at, I think, about just over 20 of between BLM and the other folks, organizations I had worked with to cover this and assist in the protesting. And, I'm getting hit with pepper balls. I'm getting hit with tear gas. And, you might never come home. I don't want people to forget the fact that when, a backwoods deputy illegally arrests you and then takes you to a place where civil rights activists were murdered by the same department, 40 years ago, that's a very clear message. But you can't be deterred because the moment you fear them, they win.
What is it that drives you to continue to help people, who are experiencing injustice? What is it that makes you decide that you want to support freedom of speech, stop censorship, bring attention to the fact that, the police officers really do illegal, pretty much illegal stuff when they pull over citizens. What is it that drives and motivates you to continue to do this?
It's kind of a multitude of things. I mean, obviously, this is how I support my family, right? This is a full-time job for me. So, I mean, anyone who says that money has nothing to do with it is lying. But someone that gets into it solely for money, like when I put up that video, I never thought I was going to have a channel. The real motivations behind something like this are seeing what's happening to people every single day and being from a point where I was homeless, I was sleeping under a bridge, I was using drugs, and I had never felt, so helpless. And I know what that feeling is like in other people when you think that there's nothing you can do. And I think that anyone that tries to instill terror into another human being to make them do something or to make them feel less than, that needs to stop. And to know that I have gone from being under a bridge where no one would even look at me twice to being able to do a live stream where at the most part at minimum we'll have 600 people in it, that's a big deal. And I feel like I owe that to people because there could be another me out there someday. There is another me out there right now. It's not about the person, it's about the fight. And I think that's the biggest part.
That's really cool. Smoking auditor, do you have anything else you want to say? I don't know if he tapped out. Smoking auditor
I'm still
is
here.
really quiet up here.
I'm just naturally quiet. Sometimes I get forgotten about.
Oh no!
But
How is your cat? We're in and out of
uh
this.
Gizmo's doing well. She's as playful as ever. Still likes to jump up and randomly sleep on me for no reason.
Okay.
um, I'll
All right.
just say two things before I go back to where I belong, which is in the chat. Uh, if you want to look up a good video of cops flat out violating someone's rights, and Josh came on at like 2 a.m. to cover this, go check out what happened to Chuck Bronson, and where two gangbangers basically ordered a cop to arrest someone because he was filming. That make a long story short, cops listened to these two street thugs, one of them who supposedly just got stabbed, to arrest someone with a camera because they didn't like him recording. And the second thing is Josh, thank you for everything you do for the community. Yeah, you get paid for it, but that's more of a byproduct of how hard you work to try to help everyone and protect people's rights.
I
Uh,
appreciate it, man. I'd say it all the time. I can't do what I do without the people behind the scenes, like tireless people who literally send me 50 emails to 50 text messages every single day, letting people know what happened. The people that when we go live are sending bail. I mean, that's a beautiful thing when you look at it. When you can be on the opposite side of the country or sometimes on the opposite side of the globe, and you could be from Australia and you could see a man be beaten and thrown in jail, and then to know that you have the power to send someone money from the other side of the globe to have that person released from their bondage. I was the biggest part of my channel when I had no subscribers, but the moment I had 3 subscribers, I was the smallest part of it. I will always be the smallest part of it because people that do it, what we do, we're nothing without the people that stand with us.
And we really appreciate the type of work that you do. I'm gonna go ahead and check some of the comments in the chat. And guys, if you have questions or anything you want to say to accountability for all, Josh, so you can type his channel in. His link is in the chat. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask or anything you'd like to say, please feel free to type it in the chat so I could actually take it up. All right, pull it up. So Christopher W has a question. So he's saying this is a pretty good money making venture for you. Or I guess he's asking. Are you asking or telling him? Well, maybe. I know the Black Lives Matter turned out to be a pretty good money making venture for the higher echelon white people. So he's asking if you're able to make good money doing something like this.
Absolutely. And all YouTube partners are it's public information because YouTube is a publicly traded company, so you can see exactly what money we make. And I make good. I'm able to make a living now, but you have to understand that I think they say 1 in every 1,000 YouTubers will be able to sustain a living on YouTube. And my channel's been around for 3 years, and I think it took me a good year before I ever saw a paycheck that could, do pay any type of bill. That's why so many people that do what we do have day jobs that work full time. But the first time that I did this and I filmed one of these videos, I have not worked since. I have worked no other job. I have only done this. So, I'm able to sustain a nice living now, and I do make a very comfortable living, but I mean, it's 1 in 1,000 that will get there.
Yeah, and the job is really it's dangerous because some of these confrontations I've seen you with the cops and stuff, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense. Anna Banana says, and I want you Can you drop her channel for me too, sis? That that's his girl. Anna Banana says it costs a lot for lawyers and bail and all of the other stuff that goes into this. And don't forget about that. So it's not cheap to be an activist. And it also helps to have a good support system because
Well, and the
people
other
who
thing is like in my channel, I'm usually raising money for people. Like
right,
today and yesterday is raising money for other people. And you'll notice it's not about money because, for example, someone put a 20 or a $50 super chat in my chat. And I said, I'm going to take this money. I'm going to send it to the person that we're trying to get out. No one else send any super chats. If you'd like to send anything, send it to these people. When I go live, I don't make money. I make money when I do regular release videos, but I have so little time to do that because I'm the channel that they call when everyone gets arrested. And I can tell you right now that I have an attorney, and Anna can confirm this. One of the best attorneys in the East Coast is personally on retainer for me that works just nonstop, picks up my call, will bail me out. He's on retainer. He works for me. I have another attorney that handles any jail situations and or probation matters or anything that might arise with the court systems in Massachusetts. I have two attorneys in Indiana. I had to drop a $400 bill for an attorney the other day for a guy in for an attorney in Florida. So I think I spent last year on attorneys close to $80,000. So you know what I mean? The money it weighs itself out. I can get by, and then there'll be months where I do very well.
and you did mention that you have the guy that you assisted, his mom, that is helping. What did you say she was helping with some merch or something of the sort? What was it again?
Yeah, so I had just the person who was doing my merchandise didn't want to do merchandise anymore. They wanted to start a different business venture. So I had people contacting me within our group of friends who wanted to invest in me running my own merchandise or having Teespring where it just appears on the channel. After talking to this woman, I realized that she had had several failed ventures where she tried to do merchandise. So I said, send me a couple examples of what you do, like what you could make from my channel. She sent me a couple of items, and I said, this is great, let's do it. So now I think the catalog is maybe about 10 different designs, all great. I wear all my own stuff, and all the proceeds go to her for her son. And attached to my catalog is her free Shane catalog as well. And now she's going to be doing some stuff for Banana Anna as well, but we don't make or ask for a dime. And, you know, even when she sends it out to us for free, we have to force her to accept the money to take the money for shipping. So we don't make a dime on our gear either.
Wow, really? That's,
Not
that's
a dime. Not
commendable.
one.
That is really commendable. Okay, Christopher has another question, and I just dropped Anna Banana's link also. Oh, you did already do it, sis. Thank you. So you can also check her channel out and subscribe. Shani said she subscribed. Okay, cool. Christopher says, "What do you recommend for communities that are online that are what?" Okay, let me try again. What do you let me put it on the screen? Christopher says, what do you recommend for communities that are online that are infiltrated by another race to include bullying and disparaging racial verbiage? How would you deal with somebody like that?
So am I under, just I understand the question. Like for an example, are we saying like a racist white person that infiltrates a community of other race? I just want to make sure I understand the question that's being
I'm
asked.
thinking that's where he's taking it to.
So
I'm thinking that's where he's
what do
taking
you
it.
recommend for communities that are online? Like, what does he mean, like online? Like, are we
I'm
talking
thinking
about real
here on
life?
social media, I'm thinking versus something else. I'm
Oh,
I'm
I think
thinking
I understand what he's saying.
he's saying what about those who may bully and do other, I don't want to
I
use
mean,
that word, things
bullies
to
seek attention. You know that. How do
someone
you deal
of
with?
another race.
How do you deal with? I mean, most parents will tell your kids, like, you know, when you're dealing with a bully, just walk away. I taught my son do everything you can to escape the situation, but I also taught him how to throw a right hook. And he had complained, and we had complained to the principal several times that he was being bullied by this other kid that was twice his size and a couple years older than him. So one time his bully cornered him, and there was nothing else that he could do. So we dropped him. And I get a call from the principal's office, and I go in, and this kid's sitting there with a bloody nose, and his father's starting to yell at me. I was like, "You're about to look like your son. You should shut your mouth." And then the teacher explains what happens. And I was like, well, so this is the kid that we've complained to you about. You've done nothing to separate it. So he had a chance to continue to cower or stand up and defend himself and to not be bullied. Is that what happened? My son said, yeah. I said, let's go home. We'll get you an ice cream. It's the same thing with adults. If you don't recognize a bully or a troll, if you don't feed a troll, they don't grow. They only grow off your tears, right? But sometimes you have to stand up for people. My chat is totally free speech. I allow anyone to say whatever they want as long as it doesn't include doxing someone's address. There's no credible threats of violence, and there's no racism or hate speech. And people that are racist say that that's free speech. I don't recognize it as free speach.
Right.
So it depends on the situation. You ignore it, but sometimes these things you have to just handle.
Right. So Chris was asking you about online, but let it be known that Josh works on the road, physical stuff, not necessarily online bullying and those stuff. But it's good advice that you gave him. Stay away from the persons who are bullying you, and if push comes to
Well, it
shove, when you
depends.
deal with them,
On the road, I've had people come up to me, like it happens all the time. I had a video that I dropped the other day of someone that followed me and someone else all the way to a parade to try and get in our face. And they were trolling me, so I was trolling them back. Then it turned into a physical altercation, and I had to separate the two people. But I have people all the time that come up to me, and there's several videos where a guy's like, "Oh, you're so tough with your camera." And then I pass off my camera. I'm like, now I don't have a camera. Let's go around the corner. You want to fucking get handled? Like, let's do this. I haven't won every fight, but my attention is
I'm
perfect.
I'm telling you that it's pretty dangerous. You need security, but I guess you can do your thing by yourself, as you say. But one of the things that I've always wondered, I was watching one of your videos lately with this lady who was quite upset that you were filming. I think it was at the same public building that you were at,
Yeah.
the right. And do you find that a lot of people attack or try to attack, you because of the type of work that you do? They see a camera, they obviously start to go, crazy knowing that you're filming them and stuff. Because I remember watching this lady actually sit and call the cops. You were minding your own business and recording. And this, I want to call her a Karen. And oh, speaking of Karens, he does encounter Karens. Would you believe that? He actually does encounters Karens too, and he does go head to head with them, and that's the funny part of it. But anyways, my question was, do you find that a lot of people, they get upset when they see you recording, and how has that impacted on your ability to get your job done?
Well, that is the job. I have no problem owning Karens. I have some good ones where they attack me and then like they get caught up in the verbal judo, and just 99% of the people I deal with when it comes to quick wit, I'm just funny. I'm in your face, and there's not a lot that you can do. But primarily the goal before anything else is to educate people, right? So the first thing, like that's why when this lady was going off, I could have just made her look much more stupid than she looked. I could have followed her around. I could have got up close and personal. I could have had this woman have a heart attack without trying at all. But she's hyperventilating. She's having a friggin' breakdown. And that's not what we want to see. So that's why in that situation, I kind of handled it a little bit differently. I was like, ma'am, we are allowed to do this. And then I went to find her coworkers. I was like, you might want to go check on her and make sure she's okay. And then some guy comes up and he wants to go hands on and fight. So I again passed off the phone. I was like, we can go outside right now and get this right this second. So we went outside, and all of a sudden he didn't want to be hands on. He didn't want to fight anymore. But we always want to let people know that it's your right to film. That's your First Amendment privilege. So it makes no sense to just attack a Karen right off rip. I always like to, if there's a Karen or a Darren, I always like to see if I can educate them first. Let them know what you can do. Sometimes it works, and like the crazy lady that attacked me in Indiana, she
The
found out
older
after.
lady,
What's
the one
that?
that called, are you talking about the one who called the cop, and then when one came, she wasn't satisfied, so she proceeded to call more cops? That's the same one.
Oh no, that old lady was hysterical. No, I'm talking about a lady in Indiana. She came out and attacked us, and she went nuts. And then her grandfather tried to attack us. Everyone was trying to attack us, and two of the people I was with are armed. So she realizes who I am, and she's like, "Wait, you're the guy that put out that story about the cop body slamming the kid?" And I was like, yes, that was me. And then all of a sudden they were cool. I could have made an entire video making her look stupid instead of a video of 30 seconds making her look stupid. But the primary goal is always to educate, because who needs Karens in society? If you can turn a Karen, I think that's a much bigger success than making them look stupid. But if they give me no other option, I'm happy to make you look stupid for millions of people.
Thank you to everyone who's sharing with the channel, the live. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. And thanks to everyone who is in the chat and to those who are up in the clouds listening. I appreciate you guys. Also, Josh, I wanted to know. Hold on one second. Remind the audience watching some of the newspaper or the television stations that have reached out to you or in some shape or form had videos about you, or stories about you. Because I think you have mentioned it earlier on. I think you mentioned CNN as one. And what has that experience been like for you?
Yeah, so I've been featured on CNN several times. I mean, like over 5 times I've been on CNN, either involved in footage or the focus of some footage. I've been on, every time I really go film someplace and it makes waves, I'm always on whatever the local channel is there, like the ABCs, NBCs, CBSs. I've been on the front page of the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe, the New York Post, the Washington Post. And like at the front page for those types of newspapers in those types of cities, that's it's a pretty big deal. So I've been featured on quite a bit of news channels. And I mean, the first time was kind of weird. I had a radio interview, and hearing myself back was kind of strange. I was very, very new to things. But I've been on camera for years. When I was a kid, I was on the Disney Channel. So being in front of a camera wasn't weird, but being like sensationalized as like an adult and being kind of viral, and walking around and having people recognize you and come up to you, because you don't know if they want to punch you in the face or take a picture.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then of course, like, I have cops in my family, right? So when they see a picture of me, and then they see a video of me on CNN at a Boston protest, leading a protest against police, it's, they're like, oh man, like, why are you bothering the cops? So that's the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, we need to I don't care if you're my family or my friend, you're my enemy. My rights and our rights as a people exist all the
Right.
time. It doesn't stop. So seeing myself in those situations can be it just really doesn't affect me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, now I have complete troll channels that have tens of thousands of subscribers, that their only channel, their channel solely exists to report on me or to make videos about me. So just
I
at this point,
realize I've seen some of them. I got a question also. So you've been featured on, some of those major television stations, and newspapers. Have you ever gotten anyone reach out to you to be a part of, like, maybe a what do they call those? What do they call those things? Have you ever had people reach out to you to have some of those? What do they call those shows? What's it called? Hey, mind your own. Hey, everyone coming in. Um, for you to come on TV to do your is like a, why is the word slipping me?
you mean like a documentary,
Not
an
documentary.
interview?
Okay, let's go with documentary first until the term comes to me. Has anybody reached out? Oh, reality shows or documentaries. Have you been given any of those offers?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was actually on a reality show on the Disney Channel called Bug Juice. It was like a reality
Hey,
show.
what?
It was like the real world for kids at camp, is what it was. So I had done that, and then 17, 18, I was really prevalent in the stand-up circuit. And I've worked with a couple big comedians opening up for them. Then, fell out of like the limelight and just did my regular Joe Schmo working thing. As of recently, my life is a reality show. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it's a reality show. But I've had a documentary reach out to me recently. Certain things happened that it didn't wind up panning out, but it was a very prevalent offer, and it just didn't wind up panning out. I have more so like podcasts and local interviews, and when I go to places, like stuff like that will want to interview me. But the world has kind of changed where YouTube has taken over. I more so have channels with hundreds of thousands to the million subscriber range that will want to talk to me, because YouTube I think is kind of taking over mainstream anyways.
Yeah, well, that is true. So people are more, interested in doing YouTube and all the social media as opposed to watching TV, to be honest. But somebody said they remember Bug Juice. I'm like, really? You were on Bug Juice? That is so cool. That's interesting. So you've already been on, around cameras and stuff and know what that whole life is like, right? And like you said, your life is already a whole reality show. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna have these companies wanting for you to come on and do stuff for them. So I'm pretty sure that will come on. How long did you say you've been doing this?
Ah, just coming on 3 years. 3 years. And it's strange that at 3 years, like this is how quickly the community turns over. At 3 years, I am one of the OGs of First Amendment auditing, activism, like as we know it, like people jumping out and filming cops, cop watchers. I'm like kind of like one of the originals because the market's so saturated and there's a lot of people getting out there to do it. And no one really stays long. For whatever reason, they get arrested. They can't afford another arrest. They can't afford another lawyer. There's not that many people that stay. So when you do, and you do stick around, that's why all the other big channels like that, we share that in common. It's a brotherhood. Everyone has a seat at the table because we've been doing this for so long.
And like Anna said, it's not easy. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. You gotta have lawyers on deck. You gotta have money ready to for bail and all of those other
Oh
stuff.
my
So
God, I had a friggin' case. They put out a warrant for me after I left Indiana and totally put that police station on blast for beating up that kid, the case that went to CNN. And I get home to Boston. Yeah, I find out that I have a warrant in Indiana. So I have to hire two local Indiana attorneys to try and figure this out. And they're pretty hardcore at wanting me in there. So they send the sheriffs. It was a non-extradition warrant, so I could only be arrested in Indiana. They sent it to my local sheriffs. They lied. They said it was an extraditable warrant. The sheriffs come, they knock on my door, and they're like super nice because they don't want to look like assholes. They're like, "Hey man, really sorry. You want to come with us?" I'm in the back of the van, shackled up, and I still got my phone and everything. I get into the court. The deputies pick up on the fact that the warrant's fudged, right? And then the judge picks up on the fact that the warrant's fudged, and they're like, release him immediately, and we're also going to make it illegal for these guys to pick him up on their own. So these deputies call and say, where's our guy? Is he still at court? They're like, no, we released him and you can't get him. So I had to pay not only thousands and thousands of dollars for this. Like this guy represent all the famous people in Indiana. I had two people, supporters, rented a car, drove across country, picked me up, and smuggled me into Indiana, put me up in their home. And then I showed up at the police station to turn myself in. And as soon as they put me in handcuffs, I was like, is it too late for me to go get a cigarette? They asked for me not to be held, without bail. But I had such good lawyers that did not work out. And then I was like, fuck it. You wanted me here. I'm here now. And I stayed there every single day for 3 months and filmed every single police stop that happened.
Oh Lord, you did say your life is like a reality show. I believe you. I believe you. You've got a lot going on at any given day. And of course, with what you do comes a little drama. And let us hear about the last drama. We're winding down. Let us hear about the last drama with this delete person, especially for those who just subscribe to your channel. They may be wanting to know what exactly is going on here with this delete person. Because I was trying to figure it out also. But help those who may just be coming in and just subscribe to you. Again, tell them very quickly what your channel is about, and then let's go on to this drama that's been going on here. Because there's just like the beefing sector, guys. There's a little mess over there, and it's quite entertaining. Go ahead,
Well, I was
Josh.
inspired by you, Kerry. I was inspired by this new beef sector. We call it the drama community, but I spent a couple minutes in your panel and I was like, this woman is the absolute best. This is the best channel I've ever seen. It increased my trolling abilities to like the nth degree. So I'm going out and I'm filming this channel, Delete Laws. And he drives from California. He's got a warrant in Ohio. And there's all these stories about how he scams people and frauds people and all that stuff. So he comes to meet me. We go out to a parade to film, and he's just acting like an asshole. Like, I put my attention on cops, but he's going up to small children and telling them that cops will rape them and to not trust cops. So it's just unacceptable. So one of the channels that has 20,000 subscribers, imagine having 20,000 subscribers to troll me, like, which is an honor. But she shows up and
People keep
immediately.
creating channels only to just highlight stuff that you do and talk bad about you. So, there's a little drama. I understand it. Keep going.
So she shows up and she's trying to troll me, but I don't trigger. I don't get upset, and I'm just trolling her right back. Like, she's having trouble keeping up. So she takes her energy and redirects it to this guy. And she's like, I'm with him. He's my brother. He's my mentally retarded brother. He escaped from the mental institution. And this guy just cannot take the beef, right? He can't take it. So he assaults her like 7 or 8 times. It gets to the point where I had to physically remove him from the situation because I don't care if this woman's made a channel talking shit about me. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. You know what I mean? I don't want to see her get hurt. I don't want to see kids get caught up in this thing. So I separated the two of them. Long story short, the guy winds up threatening to call my PO if I release the video. He winds up stealing money from my bank account. On top of that, he's defrauding people in like some sort of like really low-level Ponzi scheme, getting people to send money to good causes and having those good causes then in turn send the money to him. So I finally came out and I put him on blast, and he's been taking a shit ton of heat, and everyone in our community has like exiled this guy. So I got a really good impressionist of him, and I did a live stream today with like 600 people in there. That was really just, ripping on him for about an hour or so. I usually reserve my beef for my backup channel, the AFA crew, because that's all we do on there is engage in drama. But as far as the activism, that's like one of the only times I've really had to go after somebody else. And that was only to defend my name because, subscribers want to know what's going on.
Thank you so much for telling us. So you see, guys, there's drama in almost every sector. Guys, we're winding down, and if you have questions for Josh, you can go ahead and type them up in the chat real quick. Yes, sis, they have beef over there too, and it's if you're following them, it can be quite hilarious. So that every sector has beef going on. So we're not that bad over here then with our beefs,
Yeah, our sector is
they're heated over there too.
It's weird because you guys, like, in your community, in your sector, you can have a lot in common, but just have personality beefs. That isn't the beef that happens in our sector. It's really like bootlickers, which are people that just totally support the police. And no matter what the police do, they're always right. I mean, they can kick a baby in the middle of the street and they'll be like, yeah, well, that cop should have kicked that baby. That baby was being a bitch. So that's what it really is. It's like the pro-police people against what we do. This just happened once in a while. You'll have spillover within our own community. And it was because that guy did what they did. He's walking around telling kids, never trust the cops, never call the cops. All cops are bad. You never go to the police. And he's got a woman following him around, and he goes to the police. He immediately went to the police. And I was like, what a fucking hypocrite.
Wow. I'm seeing. So that means you answered Team AJ's question. You pretty much wrapped up, answered Team AJ's question about why they're trolling you. Because you're gonna have people like Josh and his team that go out and try to, film and capture, these police officers who are committing injustices and just all around not following the laws, and they are the law, quote unquote, lawmakers, or they're supposed to be upholding the law, but they're the same ones who are doing illegal stuff to citizens, making illegal arrests, placing things on people. They do these things, and it's quite unfortunate. So we're pretty happy to know that there are channels like this who shows, highlights, the abuse of power and authority that the cops engage in on a daily basis. And of course, they have you to contact if they have experienced any such injustice, and you're always there to help if you can. So that's really cool to know.
If I don't get back to them, someone will. Till this day, I still respond to every single email. It might take me a little bit, but I respond to everyone that comes in, and I always tell people the same thing: back the blue until it happens to you, because every activist is birthed from, you know, from some sort of injustice at the hands of police.
Right.
And it's interesting to hear some of those stories, like a guy that was pro police and pro cop and pro jail, and supported the fraternal order of police and the corrections facilities until his daughter was mistreated and she wound up committing suicide and taking her own life in the jail. That birthed an activist, another mother who was pro police and had only police in her family, and then the police murdered her son. And no one wanted to recognize that. A lot of people that go through this, they understand maybe they won't win a lawsuit. They understand they most definitely can't get their relatives back, but it sometimes means the world for the police or for anyone to just reach out and say, we screwed up. I'm sorry. And
Yeah.
the ego won't ever let them do that. They can never admit that they're wrong. And maybe if we can at least get that for some victims, that's back the
Yeah.
blue till it happens to you. And I hope you don't have to learn the hard way to see what happens.
Okay. If there are no questions in the chat, are there any more questions, guys? And or anything you'd like to say to Josh, let me know. I'll drop the link one time if you'd like to say something to Josh. I know some of your supporters are in here, or they're also in the clubs. I know Smoking Auditor is one of your supporters, and of course Anna is in. Anna, I keep saying Anna. Anna is in here to support. Um, Anna Anna says I haven't liked the cops since way before I met Josh. I've had experiences with dirty cops, and of course, she says we need those bad cops gone. And it's just really cool to know that there are people here who are highlighting some of the dirty cops out there. Somebody has to do it, and I'm really glad that your experience inspired and motivated you to do that to help those who may be in a less fortunate position, and those who may not think they have the money or may not have the knowledge or the capability to get stuff going, to get lawyers or to seek justice. So that is really good. Yamin says I don't have an issue with police or authority, but bad cops should face consequences for their lawlessness. You're right, Yamin.
Yeah, what are you going to do when the system that is designed, or in all intents and purposes, is supposed to defend the people that they serve? 9 out of 10 times will back the side of police. After the Derek Chauvin, when he murdered George Floyd, that was very clear. I think to everyone watching that was murder. And the police department, before they decided to charge him, they sent it out to private companies to do polling to say, hey, what do you guys think? And the different citizen private companies, the third party companies they sent it out to, all said that if they were on the panel, they would have cleared him and they would have justified it. And the fact that
They would have cleared the cop.
yes, yeah. So you
Oh
can read
no.
the review on it. 3 separate companies, and this was primarily, I think, between the 3 separate companies and the 180 people that did the poll. I think only 7 were of other race than white, but every single one of them, astoundingly, would have, if they were, which they weren't, but in that case, they would have cleared the cop, which was pretty brave of the police at that time to pursue charges, because all the white folks were telling them, we wouldn't do anything. But if you guys have dealt with any type of issue with the police, you do have a voice. Send me your video if you have a video of it. If you don't, email us, tell me your story. I will absolutely take a look at it. If there's anything I can do to help or release the video, I will do that. And if it's a case that you can't fight because you don't have financial assistance, you can reach out to me as well, and we'll get you that assistance. The kid that was in prison for 36 years, we raised a bunch of money for his mom, and we make sure the funds go straight to you. So if you have any issues, you're dealing with it, and you don't have anyone that can have your back and you feel like it's a lost fight, it is not, because there's always going to be more of us than there are of them, and we have your back.
That is so true. And the smoking auditor says, I know there's only like one in every 1,000 cops that are good on hold on, I lost it. Let me find it back real quick. I know there are only like one in every thousand cops that are good, but can you tell a story about one cop that you've met that's been decent? And I think I did see, you may not have a lot of them on your channel, but you've encountered a few. So let me hear about, let's see if you can answer the smoking auditor's question. Have you found at least, give a story about at least one good cop that you've met, a pretty decent one?
Quick, good story, right? So we're in Indianapolis. It's all the riots are going down, and I'm out there filming cops. One cop gets hands on with me, starts assaulting me, grab my camera, and then I hear get down, and I'm like, oh fuck! Now there's another cop that's going to beat me. This is great. The only thing worse than one cop beating you is several. And the cop wasn't talking to me; he was talking to the other cop. He separated the incident. He gave me my camera back. He shook my hand. He apologized. He explained that it was cops like that do what cops like that cop did, is what makes it harder for the good cops to show that there are good cops out there. And he sat and spoke to me for about 20 minutes. He had a Christian YouTube channel. I kept intermediate in touch with him over the years. It's unfortunate. I have 750 something videos. I only have 30 positive police interactions, but I post them all when it happens. And when I see these guys, the same as I'll fill out a complaint form, I will publicly commend them for the good work that they do, because the only people that are going to get the bad cops off the street are the good cops, because we all know that when police do something wrong, who investigates them? Their friends. So if we can find those
Right.
people that aren't afraid to speak out against that big blue wall, then I
Yeah.
mean, good on them. And I think the reason the cop did it was because he was still active duty military. He was honoring his oath, but he was defending it from a different uniform.
Right. That's so cool. We don't find a lot of good cops out there, so when you do encounter them, it's always good to highlight their good deeds. So that's really cool. Smoking Auditor, I think he has another one. Smoking Auditor says, ask Josh what the bad cops do to the good cops in order to make them leave.
Oh, they it's like a fraternity. They out them and they harass them and they ridicule them, and they try and make them feel less than. I can tell you, when that cop on my camera turned against that blue wall and physically intervened on my behalf, the first thing that happened in that locker room, to be a fly on the wall for that conversation, this is an anti-police guy and you protected him. And I wish I knew how that conversation went, but they try and exile those people. And part of that cop's story was he was abused by bad police. So he became a good police officer because he had never met a good cop. So he wanted to make sure
Wow.
there was at least one good one in the system. And they'll
Yeah, he
always try
wanted
to
to know
fix
the
those guys
difference.
up. It's
Yeah,
just as important to highlight the good ones as it is the bad ones, because we need them.
yeah. Thank you so much, Josh. Is there anything you'd like to say? Because I don't see no more questions in the chat, and I'm so happy that you were able to take the time out to come over here and, let us know about your channel, let us know about the good work you do, and all of that. I really do appreciate you coming over here. And I'm pretty sure the chat enjoyed this conversation, and I'm hoping that you guys subscribe for those who are interested in seeing, cops and, people who are fighting against injustices, on citizens, especially citizens who have no way to fight back. And a lot of them don't know their rights. So he also educates them whenever he can about, just knowing their basic rights here on the road. And he mentioned earlier on about some of the things people need to know, just a simple pullover. If a cop pulls you over, some of the things that you're not obligated to do, or that they can ask you. So that is pretty much what he does on his channel. A lot of people who are just coming in, please check his channel out. It's called Accountability for All. Right. And I'm not seeing any more questions, but we're wrapping up now. And again, I say thank you so much for coming. Is there anything else you'd like to say before you leave? Hey, Sincere, welcome to the channel.
No, I mean, thank you for having me on. Your channel is wonderful, and you really do the same thing that I do. You're on a free speech platform speaking to people, and the beef sector is the same as the 1A community. We're all related in the sense that we have the right to say how we feel and to not be oppressed by anyone, whether it's a police officer or whether it's someone that you're beefing with in your sector. It's really all the same thing. Just you guys simply typing words in the chat and pressing send is brave, and it takes a lot of courage to speak your mind. And I would just ask that when you're out there, if you see something wrong, pick up your camera, film it, just ask yourself, would I want my family to be treated this way? We are all one people. We're all a global community. So I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank you, Kerry, for having me. Love your stuff. And as you know, when I see your notification go up, I always try and make it a point to drop by. So thank you for having me and for your chat for listening.
Thank you so much. And when your notifications go on, your live fills up so fast, you don't even see me in there saying, "Hi, Josh."
Oh my God.
It fills up so fast. It fills up so fast, and people are, the comments keep going so fast.
I've always been bad at that. I can't look at my chat at all. Like, even my own girlfriend will super chat me because the super chat's highlighting big colorful letters. My own girlfriend to communicate with me, she has to pay money, and it can get difficult.
She got to put a collar on it.
But I do try and keep a lookout. And the next time you get in there, I try and keep an eye out for the wrenches. So the next time that you get in there, we'll make you part of the wrench gang.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you once more for coming on. Shani says she enjoyed the show. I'm happy you did, Shani. And Yamin says he appreciates you for coming over to talk to us. We really do. The Smoking Auditor says, Josh's lives, you have to use a super chat for him to be even able to see that you're in there. I know it's a lot because his chat fills up really fast. And those subscribers are pretty active in there. They are pretty active, so that's cool. And Team AJ says this has been an informative show for him. So I thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. I want to again say thanks to everyone who shared my channel. I want to say thanks to those who took their time out to watch and to listen. And I also want you guys to go ahead and check out Josh's channel. It's on the screen. Up real quick. You can type in accountability for all. And he is very active on his page. So you'll get a lot of notifications because he keeps those videos coming. Let me tell you that he does. he does. That means you got a really good team then, Josh. You got a really
good. To be honest with you, I have no one that works for me. So all of my videos, all of the editing, everything that's done is me. I'll spend all day. Sometimes I'll go to bed at 4 a.m. finishing videos. Like today, I got no sleep because I wound up going to bed so late, and then I had to get up at 11 a.m. for this kid's Zoom hearing, and then to arrange people to go bail him out. But from day one until right now, no one edits my videos. I do it all 100% because I feel like if I give something to somebody else, then it's taking away. I want every video to be me, and so I still do it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. You have to.
I know, but my girlfriend is amazing. She supports me 100%. Like today, I released a regular video. I've been live twice on my own channel. I've interviewed with you, and as soon as we wrap up, I have to set up and do a live for Anna because she only just got monetized. Started doing some pop of her own.
Congratulations again, Anna, on your monetization. That's really cool.
Oh my God, there's a coyote. You see that? There's a coyote in the suburbs.
Let me put you on.
Can you see it running away?
We didn't catch it. Did you see it? Oh, yeah, I see it. You scared him.
The freaking coyote and the bird. It must be a cop, an undercover cop.
And Heather, welcome, Heather Holt.
Oh, hey, Heather, that's my girl.
Honestly, says Heather does a pretty good job as a mod. She does a lot of work for you, so that's cool. Big up yourself, Heather.
Oh yeah, always send. You guys should sub to her. She's like, if there's anything I miss, like how I mentioned that there's a ton of people that are always sending me stuff. I mean, she's constantly, like we're friends, but she's constantly emailing me and text messaging me and coming up on panels. So it's people like that, the same people in your community when they're like, hey, Carrie, you wouldn't believe what just happened on another panel. Let's talk shit about this person now. It's the same thing.
Have you been understanding any of the beefs that you've been seeing so far, or you're just being entertained? Which one of it?
Oh,
Which
I'm
one?
just entertained. When that whole beef went down with whatever that guy's name was and that
It's
other chick.
Axel. He
Oh,
was in the chat earlier. He left.
and I didn't know anything about his beef, but I was happy to get on panel and start trading. And even then, without knowing his beef or knowing what his argument was, I was still able to shut him down. He couldn't keep up with me.
You came in and you caught on in the beef sector real quick, and you did your thing. That was something. That was funny, but that was a good live too. All right, Josh, thank you so much again for coming. I appreciate you, and thank you so much for taking your time out to come over here and speak to us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. When I get off, I'll share this on my community page. And when I go live tomorrow, I will make sure to feature your channel and send everyone over. So, I got 800 subs in there, maybe get you 100 subscribers.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you've also shared my channel before. I appreciate it. And I also need to tell you thank you for that one also. I appreciate it. You shared it several weeks ago. So thank you. The YouTube God sent you over here, I guess. So we crossed.
Those are the only gods I believe in. You can ask Banana Ranner. I always tell her, like, the YouTube gods have smiled down on me today, or I'm no longer in their favor, but we live and move on. Thanks a lot so much. Keep up the great work.
All right. Same to you, and be safe out there. Thank you. Bye.
Later.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be back in about a half an hour or so. I checked my community wall and I see that you guys want to come live, so I'm gonna end this one real quick and then we'll come back and do a little game. How does that sound? We'll do open mic and or games. Okay. So give me about half an hour or so and I'll be right back. Okay, guys. Remember to check out Accountability for All for those who are interested, in auditing and so on. It's a really cool guy. Check him out and see what his channel is all about. Josh is that guy. Yes. All right. See you guys in a few minutes. Toodles.